Shri Gurubhyo Namaha children. We welcome you to our online teaching academy Ekalaiva. Children, yesterday we started our new lesson Anti-Colonial Movements and the Birth of Nationalism. In that we discussed about peasant uprising and tribal uprising. Children, yesterday we discussed about the revolt of 1857 and we discussed about the causes. Today we are going to discuss about the reasons for its failure and prominent fighters against the British. Okay, now the mutiny provided a platform to aggrieved, anger and suffered kings, nawabs, queens and zamindars to express their feelings against the British. Nana Sahib, he was the adopted son of the last Peshwa Baji Rao II. He provided leadership for the revolt in Kanpur region. He had been denied pension by the company. Similarly, Begum Hazrat Mahal, she provided leadership in Lucknow and Khan Bahadur in Bareilly. They took the command of their respective territories, which were once ruled either by them or by their ancestors. They fought for their own territories. Another such leader was Rani Lakshmi Bai, who assumed the leadership in Jhansi. So in her case, Dalhousie, the Governor General of Bengal, had refused her request to adopt a son as her successor after her husband died under the doctrine of lapse, and the kingdom was annexed by following this doctrine of lapse. Rani Lakshmi Bai battled the powerful British army until she was defeated. At last, she failed to revolt against them. Bahadur Shah Jafar, Kunwar Singh, Khan Bahadur, Rani Lakshmi Bai and many others were rebels against their will, compelled by the bravery of the Sipais who had defied the British authority. Now, suppression of rebellion. By the beginning of June 1857, the Delhi, Meerut, Rohilkhand, Agra, Allahabad and Benares divisions of the army had been restored. Restored means bring back to British control and placed under military government. So these places, all these places came under the rule of the military, under the power of the military. Now, causes of failure. There is hardly no evidence to prove that the rebellion of 1857 was organized and planned. It was spontaneous. It was not pre-planned. However, soon after the siege of Delhi, siege means surrounded by military force, there was attempt to seek the support of the neighboring states. They decided to combine the neighboring states also with them. So besides a few Indian states, there was a general lack of enthusiasm among the Indian princes to participate. But the Indian princes, they were not interested to participate in the rebellion. There was lack of interest to participate. The Indian princes and zamindars, either they remained loyal or were fearful of British power. So they were afraid of British power. Those involved in the rebellion were left with either little or no more sources of arms and ammunition. So they lost all their forces, weapons, everything. The emerging English educated middle class too did not support the rebellion. So one of the important reasons for the failure of the revolt was the absence of a central authority. So there was no central authority or to guide them or to make decisions how to continue the revolt. There was no common agenda. They won't have any plans. that united the individuals and the aspirations of the Indian princes and the various other feudal elements fighting against the British. So there was no proper guidance, and they don't know how to lead the revolt. So in the end, the rebellion was cruelly suppressed by the British army. The rebel leaders were defeated because they were lack of weapons, organization, discipline, and betrayal. Among them, there were those who gave information priorly to the Britishers. By their aid, Delhi was captured by the British troops in later 1857. Bahadur Shah was captured and he was transported to Burma. Now India becomes a crown colony. The British Parliament adopted the Indian Government Act in November 1858, and India was pronounced as one of the many crown colonies which was owned directly by the Parliament. So the responsibility was given to a member of the cabinet designated as the Secretary of State for India. Changes in the administration. So lot of changes they made in the administration. British rule and its policies underwent a major overhaul, a change with improvement. After 1857, British followed a very cautious approach to the issue of social reform. Queen Victoria proclaimed to the Indian people that the British would not interfere in traditional institutions and religious matters. So Queen Victoria, she assured Indian people that British would not interfere in their traditional and religious matters. So it was promised that Indians would be absorbed in government services, and also Indians will be given chance in government services also. Two significant changes were made to the structure of the Indian army also. The number of Indians were reduced. Indians were restrained, degraded. Toned down means degraded from holding high posts, important ranks and positions. The British took control of the artillery. Artillery means large guns to shoot over great distance. So we can shot the people from great distance, and shifted the recruiting effort to regions and communities that remain loyal. So the recruitment, the appointment also they transferred to regions and also the communities which were sincere to them during 1857. So for example, the British turned away from Rajputs, Brahmins and North Indian Muslims, and they looked towards non-Hindu groups like Gurkhas, Sikhs and Pathans. British also exploited the caste, religious, linguistic means language and regional differences in the Indian society through what came to be known as divide and rule policy. As our Indian kings were not united, Britishers took the advantage and they followed divide and rule policy. Okay children, today we discussed the reasons for failure of revolt of 1857. To receive our online lessons, please press the subscribe button and you will receive the latest updates. Thank you children.